Good morning, everybody. Man, this is a good day. This is a good day. I am excited about this. I've got my grandkids, and let me tell you, I wish this was smell-o-vision. I really wish that. Oh my God, I smell so good. Last night, I put a brisket on the smoker because I knew I was going to have the grandkids. And we are going to, after the show, we are going to dig on some seriously good food. We are. Got up about 5 o'clock this morning. I threw some ribs on the smoker. Got some boudin I just threw on the smoker. Today is going to be a good day. Oh my God. Oh, I smell so good too. I love that. I love that. So without further ado, let's dig into it. All right, let's dive in. Our first story. Trump was not hacked. I'm going to take that one. That is the hill I'm going to die on. The corporate media is screaming, "Oh, the Trump campaign says they were hacked," and yada yada. Look, let me tell you this, okay? I am no genius. I am not a cyber crimes expert. I am not a hacker. There's a lot of things that I am not. And I recognize that. So what do? I go to people that know what the hell they're doing. I have friends that are lawyers. I have friends that are criminal attorneys. I have friends that are civil attorneys. I have friends that are cybersecurity experts. I have friends that are veterans, soldiers. I have friends that, I am just a kind of a sociable guy, and I recognize, people's skill sets. And when I've got a question about unions, I go to my buddy Butch, who's been his life running unions. I mean, when I go to, this Trump was hacked stuff just set off red flags. So I called my buddy. I got a friend of mine I've known forever. We used to play World of Warcraft together. Y'all know I play video games. I'm Gen X, man. I grew up playing video games. But he was a guy that I met with way back in the day when I used to play World of Warcraft. And he is a cybersecurity expert. He worked for one of the major tech companies. He is a super sharp dude. And I said, look, this whole Trump was hacked thing, I don't buy it. I don't believe it. Was he hacked? And being the consummate expert he is, the professional that he is, he said, how the hell would I know? I can't tell you that. He said, man, I don't have metadata. I haven't done an investigation. I'm like, okay, I get it. You're right. 100%. You're right. I said, but these are my red flags. And I went through everything with him. And he said, yes, red flag. Yes, red flag. Yes, red flag. Yes, red flag. At the end, Leroy G, all right, man. I knew I had some people in the house that played WoW. I knew it. Leroy Jenkins. And if you ever did that, you're a terrible human being. You'd have to play Warcraft to know what I'm talking about. But oh man, God, I hope your coffee's as good as mine. I earned some brownie points, and Mama made Mrs. Texas Paula made some Jamaican coffee for me this morning. So I'm on next level happy. But look, you know me. I don't do conspiracy theories. I don't like conspiracy theories. I will default to not believing conspiracy theories. I will not. And here I am. I'm going to tell you about this whole hacking situation And no, I haven't done a cyber investigation on this because I'm not qualified. But yes, I've confirmed every one of these things are red flag. And when we're done, we're going to talk about it and tell you, see if you believe, as I do, Trump was not hacked. So before we get into it, I want to introduce you to somebody. This is Herr Matthias Dopfner. Herr Dopfner. Bada boom, bada bing. Herr Dopfner is the CEO of a German media company called Axel Springer SE. Just put a pin in that. Just know that for right now. That is Herr Dopfner. Talking about the hack. My first red flag is, where did it come from? Who is telling me Trump was hacked? Let me introduce you to Stephen Chung, aka Panda. And no, that is not me being racist. That is not me making that up. That is his nickname, Panda. Everybody in the Trump campaign calls him Panda, except for Trump, who refers to him as his sumo wrestler. Trump loves this frickin' guy. Loves him to death. He does. Stephen Chung is just like Trump. He came up as a Republican political wannabe operative. He volunteered in several campaigns, never really made a name for himself. He kind of stayed behind the scenes. Then he left politics and went to work for UFC, the cage fighting UFC, as a spokesperson for UFC. Trump loves him because he is just like Trump. He is not married to the truth, and he says things that are just disgusting. I just give you an example. This guy is the guy that made the official campaign statement. Not like somebody overheard him or something. No, this was an official campaign statement that Ron DeSantis was a cuck. Yeah, you heard right. Said cuck. He said Ron DeSantis was a cuck. And that's why Donald Trump loves him. He will say things like that officially. Another reason that Donald Trump loves him, and if you don't know what a cuck is, do not Google it. It is somebody that likes to watch their wife have sex with other men. That's what a cuck is. Don't Google it. Don't. He referred to Ron DeSantis as a cuck. He's also the guy, and again, Donald Trump absolutely loves him, because he is the guy that tells Donald Trump what he wants to hear. Donald Trump had a meeting of his senior staff when he was getting indicted. They didn't just indict the guy. They treat Trump with kid gloves, man. They called him ahead of time and said, "Hey, Donald, just so you know, so it's not really shocking, but we're going to go ahead and indict you." So yeah, he held a meeting of his senior staff, and it was Panda that said, he says, "What do you think is going to happen?" And Panda says, "Your poll numbers are going to go up. That's what's going to happen." And that whole, you indicting me is good for me, and my poll numbers are going up, and my poll numbers have gone up, and all that shit, that's out of Stephen Chung. Is it true? No. Did his poll numbers go up after being indicted? No. He's still paying a political price for being a 34-time convicted felon. But Stephen Chung is that guy. He's the guy that has all of the maggots out there, the MAGA freaks, saying, "Oh yeah, you really helped us out when you indicted Donald Trump. You just set off a red wave. You have no idea what you did." That's all Stephen Chung. So, red flag number one, the source. The source. Red flag number two was, when asked about it, And yes, the press is asking about it. Stephen Chung says, John Edinger, thank you, man. You folks are coming out with support like houses of fire right out the gate. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Phantom Pup out and with support. And John Edinger with this comment says, good morning, only on for a short time this morning due to an event. Glad you could be here, my friend. Glad you could be here. Glad about the momentum we are seeing with Harris-Walz, but we need to make this work for our down ballot candidates as well. She has a draft. She is pulling candidates along with her. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Thank you for the support. Great comment. Thank you all for the support. I appreciate you. Okay, back to what we were talking about. Red flag number 2. When they asked him about it, they asked him about reporting it to law enforcement. And Chung's response to that was, I won't talk about that. I can't talk about that. I won't talk about that. I won't talk about that at all. Declined to say anything whatsoever about that. Okay. This is kind of like a 2 for a red flag. 1, that is not what campaigns do. When the DNC was hacked, they put out a public statement. They said, we were hacked. The DOJ is looking into it. The FBI is looking into it. This is an international investigation. We can't comment on the specifics. They didn't say, I can't tell you who I talked to. Okay, did you talk to Secret Service? Can't tell you that. Okay, did you talk to DOJ? Can't tell you that. Huge red flag. You make an announcement making specific claims that you were hacked, but you won't tell us what law enforcement you talked to. Turns out when they got hacked, they didn't run to the law to the law. They waited to report this, which is the second part of that red flag. I'm like, no, none of this is normal so far. Right? Then his response is, well, Microsoft has a report about it. Their cyber integrity division has a report on it. Go read the report. Go read the report. It's in the report. It's in the report. Okay. So that's what I did. Let me introduce you to Clint Watts. You people probably know who Clint Watts is. You've probably seen him. He works as a talking head when somebody needs to know about terrorism and cybercrime. They will often pay Clint Watts to come on their corporate media show and explain things. This bugs the shit out of me. This is not what Clint Watts looks like. He does this for television. He is not some cyber nerd. Clint Watts is actually a badass. He is a badass. He really is. This is what Clint Watts normally looks like. Not some freaking cyber nerd geek. Clint Watts was in the Army. He started out in the infantry. He educated himself. He became an expert on terrorism and counterterrorism. He ended up teaching courses at West Point on terrorism and counterterrorism for the Army. Then he was recruited out of the Army by the FBI, and he became a special agent for the FBI, where he became even more educated, more involved, learned about cybercrime, cyber terrorism, cybersecurity, served our country just with distinction, knows when it comes to cyber terrorism and cybercrime, this guy knows his crap. I mean, he is about the top expert there is out there. So after a distinguished career in the FBI, it was time to make bank. So what does Clint Watts do now? Well, he gets paid by George Washington University to advise them on cyber terrorism and cybercrime. And he's also the general manager for Microsoft, where he runs their threat analysis center. And that is where the report that Stephen Chung keeps talking about comes from. They're saying, Iran hacked us. Iran hacked us. It's Iran. Iran did it. Iran hacked us. Why are they saying that? Because Clint Watts and the Microsoft Threat Analysis Center just put out a big report, and it is outstanding. It is an excellent report. It is a report on the activities of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps' hacking infrastructure, the subgroups. It talks about their activities online. You remember when the whole Gaza thing broke out? And I was like, look, I support the Palestinian people. You support the Palestinian people. Something is very wrong with the messaging online. These are bots. This is not going to end well. That's covered in this report. Election influence is covered in this report. Very specific, very specific. This is the generalized press release. And this, my friends, is the actual report. This is the PDF actual report. It is fantastic. I have read it. It is really good. And they talk about how these groups, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, hacking different groups and going in different directions. It's not just a one direction thing. This is basically, they have taken over for the Russians because we have decimated. Joe Biden and our cybercrime divisions have decimated Russia's ability to influence our social media like they once could. So what did Russia do? Did they give up? No. They sent their resources down to Iran. And remember, I was telling you, Iran was using Indonesia and other countries to push their misinformation out on our social media. This gets deep into that misinformation, and it is a really, really good report. It talks about how they work the right side of the road. And how that, for instance, this, what I've got pulled up right here, is a story, a completely whole cloth, made up story that went viral on the right about a, quote, whistleblower that says the CIA worked with the Ukrainians to create a troll farm to meddle in our elections. That was completely false. 100% false, completely fabricated. Microsoft lays it all out in this report. That's how they were endearing themselves to the right to meet their objectives. And their objectives are to get Trump reelected and to hurt Israel. Those are their objectives. They also endeared themselves to the left by creating bot accounts that are very pro-LGBTQ plus. They're not, these accounts are sophisticated. They're not monotone. They go in and they pretend to be, right-wing fascists and very much liberal left-wingers. And they say stuff that's like, oh, yeah, we totally support this cause. And Trump is a pig. And Trump is, on the left, that's what they're saying. Trump is a pig. And we've got to support our trans brothers and sisters and yada, yada, yada. And then when it comes to election time, bam, here comes the division. All the accounts you see that are like, oh man, I can't vote for Tim Walz because he is just bad on Palestine. Oh, Kamala Harris has just betrayed the Palestinian people. Well, they've earned your trust. They've earned your way in the door with all of these other issues. And then here's a listing of other elections that they've attempted to influence before this. I mean, it's a fantastic report. It really is. So, yeah, I mean, it highlights all of this. And in this report, when you get down here, what it says, and I'm so glad they screwed the pooch and they told me to go read this report. Because you know what this report doesn't say? It doesn't say that they were hacked. What it does say is that a former advisor that is no longer with the Trump campaign got hacked. His email got compromised. They say that very directly and clearly in this report. No him-hawing about it. A former advisor to the Trump campaign got hacked. They used his email to try to engage in what's called a spear-phishing campaign, a spear-phishing hack. Now, you've heard of phishing hacks before. That's yeah. There's a difference between phishing and spear-phishing. Here's the difference. A phishing attack is, African prince, send me $5,000 and I'll send you money. They just a blanket. Nobody's particularly targeted. Don't have any information. It's just a throw out there, generalized phishing attempt to get people to respond. Right? Thank you. I really appreciate you, Catherine. I appreciate all your support. I really do. Yeah, the Nigerian prince scam. That would be an example of phishing, right? You get an email and it's just generalized, scam. You click on it. It pretends to be a legitimate site, but what it really does is it's got what's called a hyperlink, which takes you to their illegitimate site where they are downloading all your information. And then it will deflect you to the actual site. That's what a really sophisticated phishing scam will do, is that it will eventually just get you where you wanted to go. And you don't even know that your pocket was picked. It's like, the old bump when somebody bumps into you and picks your pockets and you don't know. I mean, really good, sophisticated phishing scams do that. Now, spear phishing is different. Spear phishing is when they have information. Hence, the advisor with the compromised email. They had his information. So they utilized that information. Remember, the IRGC is an intelligence gathering organization. They're sophisticated. Keep that in mind. They are sophisticated. So what they did was they went ahead and utilized specific information and sent emails to specific people that they had conversations with. This person, this advisor, had before. So when you got the email, it was from a trusted person on a subject you had already talked about. That is the difference between spear phishing and phishing. Now, what this report very clearly says is they tried to access some of Donald Trump's accounts and failed. They failed. Nowhere in the report does it say they succeeded. To me, that is a clear red flag. This report very clearly talks about who was compromised and that they failed in attempting to compromise the Trump campaign. They say it very clearly in the report. They attempted to access accounts and failed. So to me, the story coming out of the Trump campaign that we were hacked by the Iranians and because they're scared of Donald Trump. I mean, they've got a whole narrative worked out here. That's another red flag. They have a whole narrative to this already out there. The Iranians, they hacked us because they were scared of us and they don't want Donald Trump. And they've put this BS story about how the Iranians were trying to assassinate Trump. And just craziness. That is another red flag. Now, it gets even crazier because when you read where this hacked information was sent and who it was sent from, it gets off the charts crazy. Huge red flags. First of all, Apparently, according to the campaign, the hackers didn't really get much. They only got a few communications, and they got a dossier on J.V. Vance. It was basically just a dossier full of public information we already knew, and a partial dossier on Marco Rubio. That was a huge red flag for me also. That's not how hacks work. Nobody hacks and gets access to an account and then sits there like they're reading a magazine. Oh, well, yeah, that's interesting. Let's download that. Oh, I don't need that. Oh, this is interesting. Download that. No, it doesn't work that way. Hacks are smash and grabs. You've heard of a smash and grab theft before, right? They walk in, they smash the glass on a jewelry case, and they take everything in the case. They don't take, oh, well, that looks valuable. Let me take that piece. Oh, that looks cheap. I don't want that. No, they don't do that. That's not what happened here. It's a relatively small amount of information, and it's not really damaging to the Trump campaign, which to me is just another huge red flag. Midas DW says, haven't been here in a while. I missed you. I'm glad you're back, my friend. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad you're back. So yeah, there's that. It's what they stole. Another red flag. They contacted Politico, right? They contacted Politico with this information. Why is that a red flag? Well, Politico has an owner, and it's Alex Springer, SE. Axel Springer, SE. Pardon me, Alex. Axel Springer, SE. They own the tabloid Bild, which means picture in German. They own Politico. They own Welt, which is actually Die Welt, which Welt just means world. That is their legitimate newspaper. But they're basically a tabloid company. They own Business Insider, which, you know, if you follow social media, Business Insider is hard right wing. Why is that a red flag? Well, because, again, the CEO of Axel Springer is Herr Döpfner, who is deep in the Trump cult. This man on November 3rd of 2020 sent an email out to his executives inviting them to get together for a prayer meeting to pray for the success of Donald Trump. Again, put a pin in that. If you're the IRGC, which is these are not newbies. These are not people that don't know how to hack. These are not people that don't have access to intelligence. Why the hell would you go to Politico with this? This is the equivalent of going to David Pecker and American Media, the parent company of the Inquirer that catch and kills stories for Donald Trump. Why the hell would a hacking group take information that they supposedly hacked, which I'm questioning that because, you know, that's not how hacks work. They don't just pick and choose information. They grab it all and then sort it out later. Why would you take it to Politico, where it's never going to see the light of day? Thanks for the support, Veronica. I really appreciate you. You let me do this full time, and I'm grateful. Right? Does that make sense? You are the Iranian government. You have just engaged in what is obviously going to be a high-profile hack. And you're going to take that information to Politico, where it's going to be buried? because Matthias Döpfner is a Trump sycophant? No, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, you might as well just take it to David Pecker directly. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. Huge red flag. Huge red flag. Then there are additional red flags. Politico says the person that's contacting them goes by the name of Richard. That doesn't matter. They make up names all the time. Sexy Kitten and fancy, I mean, all kinds of weird names. Hackers do that. This made me laugh out loud. Do you know what email service the hackers used to communicate with Politico? Wild guess. Wild guess what email service Robert, the hacker, uses. God, I love you people. I love you people. I absolutely love you people. Yeah, Robert, the hacker, uses AOL, America Online. Okay, maybe I need to explain that for some people that aren't familiar with hacking. Does AOL get hacked? Yes, a lot. It does. It is a target. Why? Because a lot of really older, technically unsophisticated people still use AOL. Not kidding. It's still a thing. There's about 1 million AOL accounts out there. There is. But no hacker, even a junior green kid in his mom's basement somewhere in Michigan, uses AOL for the business end of their hacking. Nobody. And let me explain why. Clyde answers, Paul, the elephant in the room is Iran. Iran is after Trump. The FBI has uncovered their plot. Iran will not give up until they get him. Look at their history of killing. One killer can't be stopped. Nonsense. No, thank you for the support, but that's nonsense. That's nonsense. Iran has a sophisticated cyber attack going on this election. They do. This is not it. This is not it. This is bullshit. And we're going to get into the whys, the guessing why later. Look, the most basic hacker is going to use a service like this. This is Proton Mail. They're not going to use AOL. AOL, it's like Outlook. Every bit of your metadata is there, where it was sent from. Even if you use a proxy server, they can follow just the metadata in your email all the way back to the proxy server. Even most basic hackers will use basic services like Proton Mail here, which is based in Switzerland. Switzerland has very draconian privacy laws. They cannot collect any of your information. And Proton Mail is encrypted on both ends. It is encrypted on both ends. Even if you're not a user of Proton Mail and you get an email from somebody that uses Proton Mail, to open it, it will take you to Proton Mail to allow you to open it and decrypt it. Yeah, I mean, it's just basic. And that's not even, I mean, there are more services out there. There's this one is called Tuda, which is based out of Germany, which also has very strong privacy laws. There's, and when you want to get beyond this, there are services like there was one called Unseen that has kind of gone underground. It used to be based out of Iceland, which has some of the strongest privacy safeguards. Unseen's changed its name and gone underground. It's like a crypto only. You can't even pay with a credit card to pay for your subscription there. You got to use crypto. There are advanced email services, right? There are. You understand that now. No frickin' hacker is doing the business end of their work using AO frickin' L. That is not happening. It's just not. No, Texas Citizens Night is not a band. So, yeah, I mean, you've got red flag after red flag after red flag. Cloud Dances, Paul, the elephant in the room. No, I've already talked about that one. No. Is Iran actively attempting to hack the Trump campaign? Sure, absolutely. They're attempting to hack everybody. They're serving their interests. They are most definitely. And what is Iran's interest? What is Iran's interest? A weak NATO, which definitely is why you would want Trump, a weak NATO, and you want as much hate towards Israel as possible. That's their goal. Right now, Israel has, with our help, has been making peace with Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, all of its neighbors, except for Syria, which is, basically doesn't really exist anymore. That's a whole nother show. Syria has been cracked up into multiple states. I mean, hell, we and the Kurds own a piece of Syria right now. Hezbollah owns a piece of Syria right now. But yeah, Iran doesn't want that. They lose their dominance in the region the more peace Israel makes. So do you want a Kamala Harris that is going to force Israel to stop doing things like using dumb bombs in the middle of frickin' neighborhoods? Or do you want a Donald Trump that says, get her done, kill who you got to kill? Which one serves Iran's uses more? Trump does. Trump absolutely does. And if you look at the hacking that's going on online, it serves Trump. So that takes us to the why. Why would they do this? Well, look, I'm into political strategy. I am really deep into political strategy. My initial, and I believe in Occam's razor. Keep it simple, stupid. The whole KISS thing, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Try not to make it too complicated. The complicated version is this helps Iran because it helps the Trump campaign. Oh, I was shot. Oh my God, they tried to assassinate me. Oh my God, my plane broke down and they tried to assassinate me. Oh my God, Iran is afraid of me and they're trying to hack my campaign. Yada, yada, yada. The more simple version of this is it's bullshit. It just happens to coincide with a report that says, yeah, Iran's doing what Iran does. The IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, tries to hack us. They're our enemies. That's what they do. But why glam onto this? And here's where I'm going to throw you a conspiracy theory. And I hate conspiracy theories. But something tells me this is about to happen. And if it does, we're going to come back and we're going to visit this again. Oh, I love Tom Clancy. I do. Great author. I hate his politics. Love his books. This is the conspiracy theory. I'm going to throw it out. I'm going to throw out there. I'm telling you in advance, this is a conspiracy theory. I have nothing to back this up but a gut feeling. There's a reality. Did you know that when you make an accusation, you'll be lucky to get 2 in 10 people to believe it? Yeah, especially on the left. Especially on the left. Now, if you've got a group like MAGA on the right that are just itching to hear bad shit, yeah, they'll believe a lot. They'll just accept a lot. But for the most part, if you come up with just an arbitrary accusation and you have 10 people, normal people, and you make that accusation, you will be lucky to get 2, maybe 3 of them to believe you. The rest, you will have to convince. But everybody believes a confession. 9 in 10 people will believe a confession. And what do I mean by that? If you have crap, which is what the Trump campaign is absolutely in the spraying crap mode right now. This is what they're doing. They're just making crap up. Look at the attacks on Tim Walz. They're just whole cloth made up attacks on his military service. Just completely. I saw a video yesterday that was being spread by the Trump campaign that accused Tim Walz of claiming he served in Afghanistan. And nowhere in the video does he say that. Anywhere. He says, when I was deployed during Enduring Freedom, I saw people coming back, as in I wasn't there. I saw people coming back when I was deployed during Enduring Freedom, which he was deployed in a logistic support role in Italy. He's always said that. His service is a wide open book. I saw people coming back with PTSD. I wholly understand what you're saying. He was talking to a Gold Star family. What you are saying, I get it. I understand. I've seen this with my own eyes. That's what the video said. The characterization of the video is Tim Walz is claiming to have had PTSD and served in Afghanistan. That's the Stephen Chung make shit up, just throwing spaghetti and crap at the walls to see what will stick. That's what I think this is. I think they have some outrageous crap that none of the media will touch. And notice that the corporate media is all over this hacking story. There's not a corporate media outlet that has not come out and said the Trump campaign was hacked. And this is the information that we know so far that was hacked. The Trump campaign now has carte blanche and a silver platter to put out any made up shit that they want and say, we did an investigation and we found this, and this was what was hacked. And at bare minimum, the corporate media is going to say this made up bullshit. They won't say it's made up bullshit. They'll just say the Trump campaign's investigative material on Tim Walz eats babies, whatever, was stolen. The hackers didn't want that to come to light. And that, my friends, is my conspiracy theory and where I think this is going. I think that they have bullshit that the corporate media wouldn't touch. That is now, they've got a silver platter and an open lane to put out whatever the hell they want and say, oh, this was stolen. And the corporate media is going to, at minimum, report that their investigative material on X, Y, and Z was stolen. Oh, man, that is some good coffee. Thank you. Thank you. And then the trolls, the bots, the Iranians, the troll farms, the click farms are going to run with that. And come October, late September and October, this is going to be their October surprise. That is my conspiracy theory. That is why I think they're doing this. And there's so much of it that is just wrong. And I want to get judge me. Tell me if you think the things that I'm seeing, like an AOL account, really, you're claiming the Iranian Republican Guard Corps, their professional intelligence hacking organization, used AOL to contact Politico of all the people that they could have contacted. They could have contacted frickin' Midas Touch, and that information would have been put out. They could have contacted ABC. They could have contacted any number of news outlets, and that information would have been made public. They went to Politico, where everything they gave them was going to go to die. Am I right in that? I mean, is that not a red flag for anybody else? And that it's coming from Stephen Chung, the guy that says, oh yeah, being indicted, that really helps your poll numbers. I will die on this hill. Donald Trump was not hacked. This is a setup to pump bullshit information out that the corporate media would not normally touch. That is what I believe. That's the strategy. That is what's going on. Because they are in trouble, folks. They are in trouble. This was Donald Trump's Bozeman rally.
For 4 incredible years under
90 minutes in.
I stood up for America, and thank you.
About 90 minutes into the rally, people just got the hell up and walked out. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, well, they're paid actors and the time ran out. And, you know, you heard about Trump's plane breaking down, which again, I'm not real big on conspiracy theories, but there is a plausible theory going around that actually his plane did not break down, even though, I mean, best case scenario, this plane is over 30 years old. It's like 33 years old. This is an old reprobate of an aircraft. This is not a new fancy. He bought it in 2011 for $100 million. Had a bunch of that gold vomit stuff that he does in everything he builds. Gold, you know, like the seatbelt clasps were gold plated, and you know, just the cheesy stuff that Trump always does. In 2011, had it refurbished. You can buy a 757 today for $10 million. And I don't mean a piece of crap. I mean a good serviceable 757 you can buy for $10 million today. This is an old aircraft. So best case scenario, they told the truth and his old broke ass plane broke down and they had to divert to Billings. The story going around is, though, that no, that wasn't the case. That Trump owed Bozeman a lot of money from their last appearance because the Trump campaign seems to believe they don't have to pay their bills. Trump keeps traveling around the country, holding rallies and political events and all of that, and never pays his damn bills. You know, cops aren't free. Parks are not free. I mean, and I got to tell you, and to be honest with you, look, I'll be completely nonpartisan about this. You know who's really freaking good about paying the bills to the local authorities? No kidding. Ted Cruz. His campaign is Johnny on the spot paying for security. They don't screw the people they go to. Buy me some credibility. I said something nice about Ted Cruz. Donald Trump is not. he does not pay his bills. So yeah, it's somewhat plausible to think, yeah, he got diverted 2 hours away because he did. He owes the Bozeman Airport a lot of money. He does. So yeah, I don't know, either his old ass plane broke down or he owed Bozeman a lot of money and had to divert to Billings. I don't know. I don't know which one it is. I am not an airplane mechanic, but that's what a lot of folks are saying, that it was actually the fact that he owed Bozeman, and that is confirmed. He owes Bozeman a lot of money. So he was like 2 hours late to his own rally. And some people are saying, hey, people just got tired of it. It was the same old recycled crap over and over and over again. And people were just tired of it and got up and left. Then there are people saying, no, it coincided with this. See, Jon Tester is very much beloved by both parties. He is a very middle of the road Democrat. He's lived his entire life in Montana. He is very much beloved. And Donald Trump said this.
And I don't speak badly about somebody's physical disability, but he's got the biggest stomach I have.
Yeah, Donald Trump doesn't speak bad about somebody's physical disabilities. Give me a frickin' break. Give me a frickin' break. Who is he bullshitting? Start over. I'm sorry. I won't interrupt it this time.
His name is Jon Tester. And I don't speak badly about somebody's physical disability, but he's got the biggest stomach I have ever seen. I swear. I swear. That's the biggest stomach. I have never seen a stomach like that. Because he doesn't look that heavy. You're not allowed to use the word fat. So if you use the word fat, you can say obese, you can say anything, but you can't say fat. That's the end of your political career. I said it the other night. Somebody in the audience said, Chris Christie is a fat pig. And I said, sir, Chris Christie is not a fat pig. You should not. And we argued about it for 3 or 4 minutes. And that was, nah, he's not a fat pig. His name is Jon Tester. And I don't speak badly about somebody's physical disability.
So yeah, the folks getting up and leaving kind of coincided with that. I don't think people in Montana were too crazy about that. Yeah, no kidding, right? SMFH, thanks for the support, says all their money is going to Lars Lips. Yeah, tell me about it. And Trump's legal fees. By the way, no contribution you make to the Harris-Walz campaign goes to pay legal bills. That's a bonus. That is a bonus. There are some folks there. Now, there is a conspiracy going around that is not true. That is not true. I don't like when we do this. And I a lot of times I won't call people out. I'll just ignore it and move on. But people are sending me this left and right, saying that Trump glitched for like 21 seconds. He did a glitch McConnell. That's not true. That isn't true. He pauses. Well, it's even worse than if he had glitched. It really is. He just sits there with a smug, angry look on his face for 21 seconds. What happened is someone in the front row, a young girl in the front row, collapsed. Trump does not say, oh, here, help her out. So come on, somebody, let's help her out. You know, what you'd see Tim Walz do? Tim Walz would jump off the stage to help, you know what I mean? Trump just sits there pissed as hell. Doesn't speak for 21 seconds. They help her up and they help her out. People start cheering. And then he starts talking again and doesn't acknowledge it. Which to me is worse. I mean, I don't know about you. What's worse? That pudding brains, because we know he's got pudding brains, glitches out, or Pudding Brains sits there and watches somebody collapse, doesn't check on them, doesn't express concern, looks pissed as hell that they're interrupting his precious rally. To me, that's far worse. That is just far worse. But yeah, speaking of Pudding Brains, it's just not going well for Trump. Here is the latest that he stepped in. You remember the press conference at Mar-a-Lago? Well, people have started fact checking it. And let me tell you something. I am shocked at where this fact check came from. Shocked. Y'all know who Maggie Haberman is? She's like the ultimate. She is worse than Kirsten Welker and her go to fancy dinners and drink wine with the Trump campaign before she does an interview with Trump so they can set up all the softball questions and all that. She is worse than that. Maggie Haberman is a Trump sucker. And I don't know what is going on. I don't know if the New York Times has seen enough cancellations. But yeah, MAGA Haberman is her nickname. Exactly. MAGA Haberman. She came out with a brutal fact check of Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is having a fit. Donald Trump said this during his press conference.
Well, I know Willie Brown very well. In fact, I went down in a helicopter with him. We thought maybe this is the end. We were in a helicopter going to a certain location together, and there was an emergency landing. This was not a pleasant landing, and Willie was he was a little concerned. So I know him pretty well. I mean, I haven't seen him in years, but he told me terrible things about her. But this is what you're telling me anyway, I guess. But he had a big part in what happened with Kamala. But he I don't know, maybe he's changed his tune, but he was not a fan of hers very much at that point.
Okay. Red flag. Willie Brown adores Kamala Harris. Like 30 years ago, they dated briefly. Willie Brown adores Kamala Harris. He would say nothing negative about Kamala Harris, but it's worse than that. Will Brown has never flown in a helicopter with Donald Trump. He made this up. His brain is just mush. It is just mush. This is what they asked Willie Brown about this.
Just to clear things up, have you ever been in a helicopter that made an emergency landing with Donald Trump?
No.
Have you ever been in a helicopter with Donald Trump?
No.
He is apparently tonight getting angry about all of this, calling the New York Times and berating them for their story on this, claiming, he says, we have the flight records of the helicopter, and apparently said the helicopter landed in a field. You have no memory of anything like that ever happening?
No.
So, what he says is true. Donald Trump has lost his frickin' mind over this. He called the New York Times. He called Maggie Haberman. He's got her personal number. Okay. They call her MAGA Haberman for a reason. Calls Maggie. And this is why I say something is wrong. I think the internal polling has leaked. There's the difference between public polling and internal polling. There is very high quality, very expensive internal polling that shows Donald Trump is getting his ass handed to him. He is going to get demolished if we show up. If the excitement we have now continues on through Election Day and we show up, Trump gets demolished. And I think the New York Times has seen that polling, and Maggie Haberman, for some reason, has flipped on Donald Trump on this issue. I don't know. I don't pretend to know. That is too weird for my pay grade. Donald Trump calls Maggie Haberman, and Maggie Haberman shoots him in the ass again because she tells everybody about the phone call. in which she says, Donald Trump calls and says, I've got the flight records. You're wrong. You need to retract that. You're wrong. I've got the flight records. And she says, great. Send me the flight records. To which Donald Trump responds, send me the flight records. Send me the flight records. Send me the flight records. No kidding. That was really his response. I'm not like, that's not me embellishing. He told Maggie Haberman, send me the flight records. Send me the flight records. Because she's like, send me the flight records, which gave her an idea, which was not a good idea for Donald Trump. She went looking for flight records. And no, there are no flight records of Donald Trump flying with Willie Brown. There are flight records. This picture you see with Ivana Trump. You see Donald Trump here, and see this gentleman on the right? That is California State Senator Nate Holden. And there are flight records of Donald Trump flying with Nate Holden. So Maggie Haberman calls Nate Holden and says, hey, Donald Trump is telling me this story that he flew with Willie Brown and the helicopter almost crashed. And Nate Holden says, that idiot. I guess all us black people look alike to him. That was me. That was me. And Nate Holden doesn't even know Kamala Harris. So no, he knows Kamala Harris now, but he didn't then. And he was not telling any stories to Donald Trump about that. But this is what Nate Holden says really happened. See, Donald Trump had aircraft problems. He's a cheapskate. He doesn't do maintenance. He doesn't pay his bills. He had 3 executives die in a helicopter crash just months prior to Nate Holden getting on a helicopter with him. They're flying through New Jersey. Nate Holden says Donald Trump is bragging. Randy Oliver says, your impression is getting better. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm trying to get better. Thank you, man. Nate Holden says they're flying and Donald Trump is being what Donald Trump is. He's like, look at this skyline. This is a beautiful skyline. I see this every day. I'm responsible for this skyline. Now, does that sound true or not? That's Nate Holden's story about, he remembers very clearly what Donald Trump was saying and doing. Then the pilot screams, shut up, shut up, everybody shut up. And they start to go down. And Donald Trump loses his freaking mind. Nate Holden says he was freaking terrified, and the pilot had to keep telling him to shut the hell up while he was trying to put this helicopter that's going into auto rotation into a field so they don't all die. And he did, and they survived. And yes, Maggie Haberman went out and found the flight records that confirmed this really happened. But Pudding Brains now believes he flew with Willie Brown, and they had a really great conversation about Kamala Harris and how terrible she is. Which, best case scenario, he's just making it up and lying. Worst case scenario, well, I'll let Pete Buttigieg tell you.
And you can just tell that he's lying. And you can just tell that he's lost a step. You know, he's getting mushier, fuzzier, more confused. You look at this press conference, he declared that he was in a helicopter that went down with Willie Brown on board. He's never even been in a helicopter with Willie Brown. And it does raise some real concerns about what's happened to Donald Trump over the years, right? Is this a symptom of something? Is he struggling to maintain a grip on reality or to tell the difference between dreams and what is real? Or best case scenario, he's just lying again?
Yeah. I think he's got pudding brains. I think he's a disgusting human being taking his miserable, nasty bigotry and making up stories in his mind as he goes because his mind is frickin' gone. That is what I personally believe. This is Donald Trump. Listen to what he says here. Listen to what he says here about Kamala Harris.
How did I do with the debate the other night?
Amazing.
That old broken down pile of crap.
Yeah.
It's a bad guy. He just quit, you know. He's quitting the race.
Is that right?
Yep, I got him out of the race. And that means we have Kamala. I think she's going to be better. She's so bad. She's so pathetic.
It's so amazing.
It's just so fucking bad. So
I just can't imagine.
but it can
What did you just call her? Let's listen to that again.
pathetic.
It's so amazing.
It's just so fucking bad. So
I just can't imagine.
but can you imagine that guy with
Yeah, he said that on tape. Called her an effing bitch. So yeah, I think the man is pudding brained. I think the man is insane. I think the man just took his own bigoted bias, nasty miserableness, and ran with it and invented a whole story, whole cloth in his head that I think the sick, sorry bastard actually believes. Because he just has pudding for brains. And he's a nasty, sorry individual. And yeah, Barron's just sitting there. Yeah. Yep. Syphilitic brain or dementia or both. Lewy body dementia or but he's disgusting. That is one option ahead of us. The Harris-Walz campaign is having a pretty good run of it right now. Their messaging is on fire. Let me just play you a little bit of what's going on with them. Thank you for the support, Susan. I really appreciate you. I predict after the election, win or lose, he gets served with divorce papers. Yeah, you think? Absolutely. We're going to find out the quality of that prenup. We are. But look, Kamala Harris has been nailing it. Absolutely nailing it.
Let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of President of the United States. Never again.
Yeah. Feeling you. Amen. Amen. And a class act too. They started chanting, lock him up, lock him up. She didn't allow that to go on. Imagine how Trump would have reacted to this with that smug ass crap he always does.
Well, hold on. The court's going to take care of that. We just going to beat him in November. We'll beat him in November.
Doesn't sit there and allow them to chant, lock him up, all that. She's got class, man. She's got class. She's about good things, about the future. About the future. She lifts people up. This is another great one right here. Another great one right here. This was
So I know the folks who are here. I know the people of Nevada. You are battle born. You are battle born. And if Donald Trump wants to pick a fight over our most fundamental freedoms, we say, bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on. We're ready. We're ready.
nails it. I mean, wonderful. Wonderful. Just wonderful. I mean, just juxtapose that sorry, negative, miserable fat bastard with the same old tired attacks, same old crap with this classy, uplifting lady running a positive campaign that's keeping everybody motivated. That's why the internal polls are scaring the living crap out of Republicans. That's why they're running this stupid, we were hacked by the Iranians. They're trying anything. They are desperate, and desperate people will do crazy, crazy things. Let me tell you. And it gets good, man. It gets good. Here's old Tim Walz, man. I got a couple for you from Tim Walz, too. I love this. This one's got hang time. Tim Walz has come up with some great ones. This one has hang time.
And I said it. I want to be clear. I didn't call anybody names. I spent enough years in that lunchroom to know bullies when I see them. I just made a very clear observation that they seem to be really concerned about. I pointed out that taking away reproductive freedoms, banning books, raising the price of insulin, trying to hurt labor unions, nobody's asking for that weird crap. No one's asking for it.
One more time. I want to hear that again, man. Nobody's asking for that weird crap.
And I said it. I want to be clear. I didn't call anybody names. I spent enough years in that lunchroom to know bullies when I see them. I just made a very clear observation that they seem to be really concerned about. I pointed out that taking away reproductive freedoms, banning books, raising the price of insulin, trying to hurt labor unions, nobody's asking for that weird crap. No one's asking for it.
I got to tell you, I'm watching this, and you know how much I love politics. Just watching, you've got the intellectual, the class, the bigger than life leadership of Kamala Harris, the very parsed language of the prosecutor, the attorney general, the esteem of the senator coming out. You've got that whole style from Kamala Harris. Tim Walz juxtaposes that perfectly. I mean, perfectly. That's why these are hitting so freaking hard, man. I mean, how long do you think nobody wanted that crap? I mean, how long are you going to hear that? I mean, it's just perfect. I got one more for you. And this is where we need to stay focused, folks. They are bringing it back. They're not letting them walk away from this. They're not letting them distract. All the BS is an attempted distraction. Old Tim Walz ain't letting them get away with it.
So the other day I was saying this. I started out by saying, don't believe Donald Trump when he plays dumb about 2025. But then I remembered, you don't believe him on anything because that's what you shouldn't believe. But look, I coached football for enough years. When somebody draws up a playbook, they plan on using it. And when they do, they'll restrict our freedoms. When they do, they'll do what they've done. They'll rig the economy so that the middle class gets nothing and the rich get richer.
Boom.
So
Boom. Perfect. Thanks for the support, Robert. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. Tim Walz is killing it out there. He is killing it out there. I mean, we are absolutely dominating the messaging war, which is not a place that we Democrats are usually in. We really aren't. We're usually fighting the corporate media. We're fighting frickin' everybody, trying to get the messaging out. And then you got the people that are on our own side. It's like herding cats saying the Democrats really need to work on their messaging more. We're killing it. We're killing it 100%, and I couldn't be prouder. I couldn't be more excited. So look, before we call it, I want to ask you, did I make the case? Do you think that the Donald Trump campaign was hacked? Do you at least have questions? Let me hear it. By the way, I was bragging on you folks on Threads today. I'm inviting new people in. If you're one of the new people of the audience from Threads, welcome. Reach down, hit the subscribe button, because what that'll do is when you log into YouTube, you'll have a subscribed channels down there at the bottom, make it real easy to find me. It serves you. It costs you nothing. Hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button for this video. We've got over 4,000 people live. What hitting the thumbs up button will do, we'll recommend it to people. It's about to go into replay. We're about to wrap it up. It's going to go into replay. You hit the thumbs up button, more people will see it. So pretty please take a second to hit the thumbs up button. Yeah, I don't think he was hacked either. I don't. I think that they took a generic report, not a generic report, a damn good report out of Microsoft. I was very impressed with the quality of that report, the detail in which they went to the messaging that the IRGC was using to get, and they are, folks, I'm warning you, they are fooling you, not just the right, not just the bigots on the right. They have messaging for the left also. And then what are you starting to see come out? The trolls that are saying, oh, Tim Walz, he can't be on the ticket. He can't be on. Oh my God, he's terrible for Palestine. He just loves Israel. Kamala Harris has failed us. You've seen it. You've seen the trolls go active. So yeah, I'm not saying in the slightest that the IRGC aren't nefarious actors. They're serving their own interests is what they're doing. But no, I don't believe the Trump campaign was hacked here. There's too much. America Online, really? You think the IRGC is using an America Online email account to reach out to Politico of all places, and that's what they're doing business through? Give me a break. Give me a break. This is the biggest load of crap. And if you go to the corporate media, they are running with this. If you just search Trump in Google, you will get a dozen or more stories about how Trump was hacked. Don't buy it for a minute. I do not buy it for a minute. I love you folks. Thanks for being here. Do me a favor. When I was recruiting over at Threads, because there's good people over on Threads, there really are, and telling them about our audience, telling them I was bragging on you folks. I was bragging on you folks about how informed you are, how we're just loaded with professionals. We've got lawyers, we've got teachers, we've got nurses, we've got all kinds of just smart, good, decent people, and we have a huge international audience here. Do me a favor. Before we go, just take a second, go into the live chat, type where you're from. I want them to see our Danish friends. I want them to see our French friends. I want them to see our Australian friends. We are a truly great international community, and we've got our English friends here. Let's do this. Let's show these new people that are in the audience, because we're well over 4,000. We have some new people in the audience. Show them what a large, professional, smart, caring, decent community we've got here in the Texas Paul Potheads. Liz Burns says, many thanks to you, Paul, from JT Davis and me. So happy you're showing the ruse of Politico and other foreign-backed media ghouls attempting to destroy our democracy. That's my job. You allow me to do that. Peter, thank you for the support, my friend. You allow me to do this full time, and damn it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the job. I will swing. I will be fighting all the way, man. Let's stay fired up. Check your voter registrations. If you're not registered, get registered now. Don't wait. You're under 60 days to get registered. Don't wait till the last minute. You may have to chase down some documents. You may have to. Right now, Texas, Florida, Ohio, they are pulling some dirty shit with the voter registration. Ken Walleye Paxton was bragging about how many people they have. Democrats. I mean, he just doesn't even hide it. He doesn't even hide it. How many Democrats he's making verify their registration in order to vote. You got to do it, folks. You got to do it. You know, if we vote in overwhelming numbers, this crap stops. Destroy the Republican Party. We've got the momentum. We do. We can end them this election. Just vote. Samita Fakeda says, Trump is a hack. Texas represented here. Amen. Texas in the house. Canada's in the house. Several people from Canada. Philly. Several people from Texas. Let's see it. Let's see what. Come on. Let's see. I know I've got a couple British people. You email me regularly. I know I got a couple British people here. Michigan in the house. Connecticut. Sugarland. Sugarland is down by Houston, by the way, folks. Mr. Knutson, Norway in the house, brother. I was waiting for you. Norway in the house. Roswell, New Mexico, Florida, Maryland, couple from Maryland, Boston. Love Boston. I love Boston. I really do. That is a great town. That is a great city. I just love New England. I really do. People get, these dumbasses around here give me shit. They're like, you ought to move there if you love it so much. Well, you know what? Shit, if I could afford it, I would, brother. Let me tell you, New England is great. It is freaking great. They're like, move to California. I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time. Don't threaten me with a good time. Brittany, thanks for the support. Blessing and joy. Text feed everyone from Roanoke, Virginia. Virginia in the house. San Bernardino, California. California in the house. Ottawa, Canada. Colorado. West Phoenix. Yeah, Boston Brian's come up. He's good. He does a Sunday show. I like Boston Brian. Y'all know that. Kansas City, Illinois, Washington State. Y'all can tell we are nationwide. We are worldwide. Denmark in the house. Love my Danes. Love my Danes. Slovenia. Really? Wow. Wow. Nice. Nice. That's a new one. Mojave County, Arizona, Syracuse, Idlewild, California. Iowa. Hey, my people are from Iowa. All right, there we go. I knew we had some English folks here. I was waiting for it. England in the house. Folks, the reason I did this little exercise is to remind everybody, we have when I say you are amazing, you prove it every day. It's really nice to just be around smart, worldly people. It's great. Portugal in the house. All right, Marcia. It's really nice to be around traveled people, intelligent people that, all right, Finland in the house. people with different views, people that can understand. We can have conversations, talk things out, know what's really going on. Nobody's presenting slates, images for us. We just talk to each other and get to know each other. Hell, I bet y'all didn't think that old hillbilly boy from Texas felt, thought, and talked the way I do. You know what I'm saying? It's the same for you. People have preconceived notions, and the fact that we're such an awesome community, we are really together, we really talk it out, it's priceless. And I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, folks. I appreciate you being here. Enjoy some Texas cities at night.